Alyssa was a very sweet child. She cared about people in general. She would always stop to talk to somebody in a wheelchair, and she'd say, "My mom's a nurse, can she help you?" And she really cared about people. And at one point I thought she was going to be a veterinarian because she just cared about all animals and human beings, and she was just that kind of kid.
You lost her at 8.5 years old. Tell me how that happened.
Just after I graduated from nursing school, I found out I was pregnant, and my boyfriend at the time, he was not ready to take care of a child, so I decided that I would take care of her myself. So in 1992, there was no nursing jobs in Canada, so I decided to go to the United States and work full-time and take care of her myself. Initially, I went down there 3 months just to get orientation set, and then we brought her down, and my girlfriends helped me, and I went down with a bunch of girlfriends at the time, and we all helped one another, and they loved her just as much as I did. And it was very difficult being a single mother and raising a child in a place that we were not familiar with. Mm-hmm. But we often made the best of it. We had our faith. And I'm not sure what year it was, 1999, September 12th, we were caught in Hurricane Floyd. And I always told her, you know, that God will never leave us, that we have one another and we have to take care of one another. And in Hurricane Floyd, the dam broke 30 minutes north of us, and we were like underwater. And I just remember like trying to get her out of the car, and that we had to get to dry land. And so I picked her up, and of course she had to get all her toys and teddy bears, and it's like, are you coming? Like the water's rising, going
There's something
up
a little more serious than your teddy bears.
And your teddy bears, can we just move it here? But I was terrified. I was terrified, and to this day, I think if it wasn't for her, I think I probably would have just been afraid and given up. But I picked her up, and the weight of her like grounded me, and like the water filled in my boots, and we walked through the flood, and we were praying. And anytime I thought I was going to stumble, she's like, "You can do it, Mama, you can do it." And so we got out of the water, and I remember like we were cold and wet, but then at the time it's like, I don't even think we were wet. But it's like anytime I would falter, she's like, "It's okay, Mama, you can do it." But it's like we prayed the whole time. We knocked on all different doors. It's like 2:00 in the morning. And apparently it was like the worst neighborhood that it could be. And no one answered the door. And then she's like, "Mama, I'm going to knock on this door." A little knock, and this elderly lady opened the door and let us in. But I don't remember us being wet or scared after the fact. So it's like I always said, you know, we always had our faith.
Yeah, it carried you through everything. And you know, the struggles of a single mom, so not easy trying to raise a daughter. You ended up having to go away to do some work, to try to make some money to help, and left your daughter with a friend. Tell me about that day.
No, that was probably the worst day of my life. But prior to that, my live-in boyfriend, who is a restorative therapist, we worked side by side for 8.5 years, and I left him with her. And that day, everything that could go wrong went wrong. But at the same time, everybody knew where I was, what I was accountable for. So that kind of helped the situation. But I got a phone call in the middle of the night. And because it was the hospital that I worked at, I spoke with a physician, and he told me on the phone that Alyssa had passed. And so at that moment, the worst moment of my life, your whole world is turned upside down for any parent, and anything that had any purpose had no purpose at all. But my girlfriends got on the phone. They couldn't believe that I was told over the phone that she had passed, and they said, "Get on the plane. We'll pick you up at the airport." But in the chaos, I missed the plane, and I just felt like I was losing my mind. And I found a piece of paper that Alyssa had given to me before she left. And it was it was her math assignment with a picture of 2 penguins, and she had written, "I love you." So I was just holding onto this piece of paper at the airport, "Please come and get me, please come and get me." And I'm telling everybody there that my child was gone. There's no reason why I need to be here anymore. And my coworkers decided to come and pick me up. So they came and drove me back. And at that point in time, they had decided that there was some foul play. And so I was not allowed to see Alyssa at that time. And I said, "She's all I have in this world. I have to see her." So they took her to the ICU, and I got to see her one last time. But I had like people watching me, and I couldn't touch her from the neck up. And so, but my whole world was just lost. And my friends were like, "Do you want to go back to the house?" And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I wanted to go to see where she was, where she slept, her blankets and things like that. So I went home, and it was very difficult, and he told different stories, and we weren't really sure what had happened. And
This
there was
is
an
Raymond, who
investigation.
was with her at the time she died.
He was with her, and so it just it was different stories, and we're just trying to figure out what was going on. But just before we went to the wake, we were told that she was murdered. So we
And
almost
Raymond was arrested.
He was arrested at that point in time. So then we made it to the wake, and the funeral was the next day. But just imagine, like, the whole world turned upside down, and we're praying. And 2 days after that was 9/11, and it was horrible for everybody, but it was a blessing for us in the sense that the whole world was, "Why me?" and everybody was praying and talking about the last time they saw their loved one. And it's God, just when we think that, we're all alone, you're never alone. God is always with us. And I've always believed that. And like, even my family was angry. How can you forgive him? But if you don't forgive somebody, if the weight is on you, and the only person that it hurts is yourself. So in the Our Father, I would leave out, "As we forgive those who trespass against us." And I knew there was like a sense of urgency in the power of forgiveness. But in a dream, my daughter came to me and she said, "I've already forgiven him." And I'm thinking, "Oh, he murdered you. How can you forgive him?" And so I thought, well, I'll forgive him when I'm ready. So I did, and like maybe a couple of days later, but it was like a weight lifted off your chest. The only thing that hurt was if you don't forgive somebody, then the only person that's hurting is you. So there is a power in forgiveness.
Wow, it's incredible that you had that dream about your daughter. And of course, Raymond he pled guilty, he pled to a lesser charge. He was given 30 years in jail for assaulting your daughter and killing her. And it was her memory really that caused you so much strength in those days to come, and your faith.
Yes. It wasn't easy, but I had my family for support, and then I moved back to Canada at the time, so I didn't have to kind of relive the event every day. But I had my family, I had my faith, and I believe that's why we're here today. And I'm very fortunate to have a husband and three more children, and just continue to believe in God. But my story is, there's people out there that have so many stories. I'm not the only one with a tragic story. I'm a nurse, and I see tragedy every day. And I think working in the emergency department, seeing other people, what they're going through, what they're dealing with, is that we're not the only ones. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something they have to go through. And I think that the power of forgiveness is important, but just when you think that you're alone, you're not alone. God walks with you, and you just have to ask for his help, but you're never abandoned.